Good day, class. Today we are here with the sixth lecture from the photosynthesis series, where we will discuss about a very important topic, which is the chemiosmotic hypothesis or theory of ATP synthesis. This is a very important topic. Actually, it could have been taught along with the the cyclic and the non-cyclic part, because there we have studied about the ATP synthesis. But with that, if I would have included this portion, then the diagram and all would have become much more complicated. So to simplify the process, here we have prepared a different lecture for ATP synthesis. So let's start. Now, what are the key features of ATP synthesis? First, let us study about the features. I'll read for you one, and then we will proceed with understanding the diagram. Okay. So, photooxidation of two water molecule yields 4 protons and 1 molecule of oxygen in the thylakoid lumen. So, here whatever calculations have been done, it is done according to simplification of the process. Like if we take 1 molecule of water for photolysis, then the oxygen which will come out would be half oxygen. So, in order to make the reactions, and then everything in process will be like total in fractions, which would be difficult to understand. Na? So, for proper understanding, we will consider two water molecules theoretically. While explaining, I will tell you in a different way. Wait for that. So, photooxidation of two water molecule yields 4 protons and 1 molecule of oxygen in the thylakoid lumen. So, here we are talking about the non-cyclic process. If you haven't watched that video, this would be a real difficult thing for you. So, please go and learn non-cyclic photophosphorylation, which have been taught in our class previously, and then in lecture number probably 5 or 4, and then you can watch this video. So, photooxidation of water molecule yields 4 protons and 1 molecule of oxygen in the thylakoid lumen, and there is absorption of 8 photons by PS2 and PS1 for each. So, what happens actually, 4 protons are absorbed by PS2 during the start of the cycle, and then it is surpassed to PS1. Okay. The transport of 4 electrons through the cytochrome complex results in the translocation of 8 protons from the stroma to the thylakoid lumen. So, what happens when there is transport of these electrons through the cytochrome complex? In that particular time only, there is a translocation of 8 protons from the stroma to the thylakoid lumen through a particular complex. This complex only, which is cytochrome B6F. Then there are 12 proteins in total released into the lumen. The surplus proteins in lumen tend to pass back to stroma via the ATP synthase, which catalyzes ATP synthesis as protons move down their electrochemical gradient. There is absorption of 8 photons by PS2 and PS1, which we have mentioned in previous slide also. Okay, so let's discuss the diagram, then the points will be very much clear. So here this is the diagram, the pink layers which you are seeing, the total thing, it is of the thylakoid. The diagram is of thylakoid. The outer membrane is the thylakoid outer membrane, and then the inner membrane from the thylakoid. The inner portion, white portion, is known as the lumen, and the outer portion in the matrix, which is outside the thylakoid, is the stroma. You all know that. Now about the particles. See the diagram carefully. So we have PS2 system, we have considered the PS2 system here, and then we have marked which is PS2, P680 in black, and then we have PS1 which is P700. So what happens now, take a note, as sunlight is absorbed by these pigments. So let's go back to the process where we have studied the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. What was happening there? As sunlight was falling, the photons were absorbed. See, in P700 I have written 4H nu, same for P680 also. There also photons are absorbed. So at first photons were absorbed, and then after sufficient absorption, what happens? The electrons get excited, and a pair of electrons is leaves the particular particular system, photosystem 2, and goes to a higher energy state, which is then accepted by the primary electron acceptor, and then the electron transport chain occurs where the molecules, the electrons pass through the plastoquinones, then cytochrome B6F complex, then through plastocyanin, and then to PS1. Now what happens in this cytochrome B6F complex? The electron transport through this chain, the electrons are transported through this chain and they release energy while passing through this cytochrome B6F complex. I have told you this earlier. And at that particular time only, the cytochrome accepts a pair of proton from the stroma. Now the protons which are present in the stroma, like H plus protons, the cytochrome accepts H plus protons in pair. Here while I am telling you in a simplified form, like 2 H plus protons are accepted by the cytochrome complex, which is multiplied 4 times here as 8 H plus. Like the cycle goes on 4 times to yield 8 H plus. Okay. So for understanding, you just take assume that 2 protons are absorbed while the electrons are passing, they are releasing energy, and at that simultaneously at that time 2 protons are absorbed from the stroma by the B6F complex and pumped into the inner layer, which is the thylakoid lumen. Okay, so what happens? 2 protons are injected inside the lumen. Now what happens? The electron pair passes to PS1, and then further from PS1 they get excited, and then again the electron transport chain occurs. And then the electrons further proceed through the cycle, whatever their fate is, they will do that. So what is the function of cytochrome? The cytochrome, what it does, it accepts electron and transfers, it accepts proton and transfers electron. So basically during the electron transport chain we have learned that these are electron acceptor, but most properly and specific way to discuss this particular complex cytochrome B6F is as an acceptor of proton and an electron transfer complex. Okay, so now the electron pair which is transferred from P680 to P700 via the non-cyclic process, now we have to replace this electron pair because this process is continuous. So what happens? Photolysis of water occurs. See, I have mentioned here 2 molecules of water yielding 1 molecule of oxygen, 4 electrons and 4 hydrogen. Here 2 molecules have taken, you can consider 1 molecule while talking. So in this case what happens? What are the byproducts? Oxygen and electron and protons. So oxygen diffuses out of the membranes via the diffusion process when no extra energy is required. Oxygen is diffused out. What about the electrons are used again by the P680 system. While if we consider about 1 molecule of water, then 2 electrons are released. So these 2 electrons are used by the P680 system, and again the same chain works. Now what happens to the electrons? The protons are only left inside. So while talking about 1 molecule, 2 protons are there, 2 protons will be there. So whatever be the number, here also protons are staying inside H plus ions. Cytochrome B6F complex is also pumped in H plus ions. So now we have a total surplus production of H plus inside the lumen. See, lumen is marked plus plus due to the surplus amount of H plus present. So there is a electrochemical gradient created between the lumen and the stroma, where the lumen is having excess number of positive charge while the stroma is lacking the positive charge. So this is not in favor of the energy cycle, which we know energy always travels from greater side to lesser side, and energy balances itself whatever form it might be. So here also same thing will happen, the protons will be pumped out. Now what happens as protons, what happens and how will be the protons pumped out? So these protons are pumped out by this red complex. You can see I have mentioned here CF0F1. This is actually the ATP synthase complex. Now what happens, the protons which are accumulating in the lumen leads to the reduction of concentration in the stroma, so they have a tendency to flow back generally to the stroma. So there is an integral part of the complex ATP synthase which is known as F0, which is embedded within the membrane. So here in this image the particular complex is appearing bigger, but no, it is not as such. This particular F0 complex, it is embedded within the membranes. Okay, it is an integral protein, and the other part, which is the F1, protrudes out from the membrane, or you may say that it is protruding inside the membrane. They two both attach in this way. So through this membrane the H plus ions can come back through to the stroma. They can come back only through the F0 F1 complex, okay, which act as channels as the protons move from the inner side of the lumen to outer side. Now the protons are, while moving, the protons were actually in a higher energy state because they were outside, they came inside, they didn't lose energy through any system. Now as they move out through the ATP synthase complex, what happens? They lose energy. They actually literally they lose the extra energy which they have while moving through this F1 part. Protons diffuse with F0, like the F0 part combines with them so that they can absorb them and further help them in transferring to F1, where F1 helps them in losing their extra energy and further pumps them out to the stroma. And with this extra energy, what F1 does, it combines inorganic phosphate with ADP for the synthesis of ATP. See, I have mentioned here about the NADP, where a number of molecules of NADP combine with similar number of molecules of inorganic phosphate with the help of the extra energy which is lost by the proton for the synthesis of ATP. So this is the work of ATP synthase. Okay, ATP synthase complex helps in this, and the total gist or the summary of this chemiosmotic hypothesis theory is this only, that it will produce ATP. So the minimum energy with which H plus comes back to stroma stays there. Now what H plus helps? Now the H plus which is present in the stroma, now there will be a regular cycle. They will be taken back into the lumen. They will be channeled out. ATP will be produced. And what other work does the H plus have? Now these H plus combine with the NADP plus. Can you see there in the figure? NADP plus and H plus, they combine together to and with the help of the enzyme, that is a FD NADP reductase enzyme, they further combine to form the NADPH, which would be used further in the process of photosynthesis for the production of glucose, sugar compounds, which we will study in the next slide, the Calvin cycle. Okay, so this was in gist the chemiosmotic theory, where we considered the non-cyclic photophosphorylation, the system PS2, how electrons are channeled from PS2 to PS1, and then from PS1 the electrons flow in their usual way to reach the NADP, and simultaneously how H plus protons are pumped into the lumen through the cytochrome B6 complex, and through how ATP is produced by the ATP synthase complex CF0 CF1 complex, and then those H plus which are fueled back to the stroma are used again along with the electrons and NADP plus to reduce and form NADPH. So this is the overall process. Here the most important thing which we have to understand, or these points are to be noted, are that there is an electrochemical gradient difference created between the stroma and the lumen, which leads to the pumping of the hydrogen. Without that gradient there won't be any pumping, and photolysis of oxygen occurs inside the lumen. The complex for photolysis is present in the inner membrane, and the complex which reduces the enzyme which reduces NADPH is present in the outer membrane, which helps in the reduction of NADP, and further the process continues through the Calvin cycle, which we will study in the next slide. Now these points will be clear to you. Let's read once again. Photooxidation of water molecules yields 4 protons and 1 molecule of oxygen in the thylakoid lumen. There is absorption of 8 photons. The transport of 4 electrons through the cytochrome complex leads to translocation of 8 protons through the lumen. Then 12 protons are released into the lumen. If you don't want to mention the number of protons according to this calculation, like 8, 12 and all, you can write and explain to yourself. And for this case of better understanding, by using only one water splitting and 2 protons are pumped in, by that calculation you can do that. Okay, so this is the overall gist of the chemiosmotic theory or hypothesis of ATP synthesis. I hope you'll all like this video tutorial. If you find this informative, please do subscribe to our channel, hit the like button and comment down with all your queries. Thank you.